Hello, everybody. Good morning, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Morning Bulletin here on the Blood Red channel. I'm your host, Edward Kay. Joining me this morning is James Findlater, and we're going to start by discussing a defender that we did discuss on the stream yesterday morning with Dave, Levi Colwill. There's been a little bit more speculation fueled by agent Harvey Elliott replying to one of his tweets with a little cryptic "Let's have a chat" message. There was already plenty of speculation surrounding Colwill and maybe a move to Liverpool. Do you think Harvey Elliott's going to be looking to help facilitate that in the England under-21 camp?
I mean, it's fairly standard practice now, isn't it, for Liverpool players to sort of tap up a few transfer targets, as it were. I mean, we've seen it with Van Dijk previously. We've had it with, Trent and Hendo at the World Cup with Bellingham. Granted, that didn't quite work, but other factors in that. But I think it can't hurt. I mean, if you got Harvey Elliott sort of tapping up Levi Colwill for a bit, maybe Curtis Jones as well. He's over there as well to sort of tap him up a little bit as well. And I don't think it can hurt. And Levi Colwill, I mean, judging by the reports, has a bit of a decision to make at Chelsea. It's kind of reported that he wants to have talks with Mauricio Pochettino, whether he's actually going to get game time at Chelsea, whether he's going to get an opportunity, considering they're still stacked. That squad there still needs a lot of players to go out before Pochettino has a kind of workable team to actually do anything next season. And whether Colwill's going to be part of that is debatable. So Colwill's got a decision to make. If Elliott's there to kind of extol all the virtues of going to Liverpool, going to Anfield, then why not have a go and see whether it works out?
Yeah, I think Liverpool sort of definitely looking to capitalise on the chaos going on at Chelsea this summer, and really since the Bowley takeover, it's just all over the place, hasn't it? But I mean, you mentioned Bellingham and the whole agent Trent, agent Henderson thing, and I think Liverpool fans might have felt a little bit like they've been led up the garden path there with how it turned out. I'm going to Madrid eventually. So, do you think there is a danger that fans can sort of read into these social media things a little bit too much when it comes to transfer speculation?
I think a little bit. I mean, there's always just going to be that element of players having a bit of fun with each other. You're in a tight-knit squad for however many weeks during the tournaments. You're going to just have a bit of fun with each other during that time. The players know full well what's going on back home. Colwill will know full well there's clubs lining up for him. There's Liverpool, there's Brighton. There's reports that Brighton have had a offer rejected from Chelsea and suggestions that they might go back in for him. So he'll know full well that he's got clubs lining up for him, and the players probably just have a bit of fun. And yeah, you can read a bit too much into it at times, but at the same time, it's not. I don't think players are stupid enough to not realise that they can have a bit of an influence, and if that results in Levi Colwill coming to Anfield, then happy days.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of Harvey Elliott and what he wants or not, there is definitely interest from Liverpool prior to this. That this hasn't just come out of nowhere. And I think a big part of that probably is having signed 2 players already as part of this rebuild. And we know that they're probably only going to get 1 or 2 more in maybe. There's a homegrown quota that does need to be filled. And I think Levi Colwill, like you say, will be aware that there's plenty of clubs interested in him. Brighton 2 bids for him, I think, as you say, might come back again. Chelsea wanted to tie him down to a new contract, and all partly because young English players are at an absolute premium at the moment, aren't they? So, do you think that would just make this one an even trickier deal to get done?
I think so. I think you look at Chelsea at the moment, and obviously Todd Bowley wants to sign every player in his dog at the moment. So it is a case of, well, Mauricio Pochettino is probably looking at that squad thinking, I need to keep hold of some of these homegrown players. He's lost Mason Mount, obviously, now, so that's one less player that he could, throw into that quota. He'd be looking at Levi Colwill thinking, well, that's a player who could either force his way into the team or further down the line will get us a decent amount of money. And for the time being, it will help him build his squad in terms of he can bring in a few more players if he wants to, knowing full well that he has that quota sorted out. And I think you look at the reports saying that Chelsea are adamant they're not going to let him go. I think part of that is going to come down to whether Colwill wants to stay, because from the sound of it, he wants to play games. And I think that taste of the Premier League with Brighton last season, showing that he is comfortable with it, showing that he is ready. And I think to some extent, he now looks at it and thinks, well, I should be in this team now. And especially after the season Chelsea had last season, he's probably thinking, I need to be in this team now. I need to be getting game time. And that could work in Liverpool's favour. But at the same time, I think Chelsea are just going to play hardball. And it's probably going to have to come down to Colwill maybe forcing something through.
Yeah, as you say, it definitely will be a tricky deal to get done, that one. But let's say Liverpool did manage to get him in before, ideally get him a good pre-season in with Klopp. But if they were able to get him in and, Chelsea away first game of the season, would you be expecting with his signing and with the other signings that have been made, would you sort of be expecting Liverpool to line up in that 3-2-5 with the box midfield with Levi Colwill on the left of a back three?
I think it would be very dependent on how he performs in pre-season. I think at the moment you'd be looking at certainly, the two new signings at the moment, Szoboszlai and McAllister. You'd look at them as starting. I mean, Curtis Jones might have a say in that. Obviously, he's playing well at the Euros at the moment, and when he comes back, he might think, well, I should be in this team. So, there's every chance that he might still be in that side. I think at the very least, one of those new signings is going to start. I'd be surprised if Colwill managed to force his way into that team straight away. I think, obviously, Klopp's very loyal to his players, and at this moment in time, I think he'll still be thinking, Konate, Van Dijk, and Robertson are the three who will be in that kind of back three, with Trent moving into his kind of hybrid role alongside Fabinho. And the front three at the moment, I think it still sort of picks itself in terms of Salah, Diaz, and Gakpo, probably. I mean, Núñez might be able to force his way back into the side during pre-season, but at the moment, I think Gakpo leads away. So at this moment in time, I'd say Colwill would probably still have a lot of work to do, and especially at a young age where Robertson still has that kind of head start on him. Obviously, a lot more experience. And going into the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, I think you'd probably want that experience in the side to kind of give you the best start.
Yeah, as you say, remains to be seen whether Liverpool can get a deal for Colwill done. It will be a tricky one. People in the comments just asking how long he's got on his contract. He's under contract until 2025, I believe. But we'll move on now to a bit of Jordan Henderson chat. Usually cops for it a little bit on Twitter, and he's sort of shot back at the haters, if you like, and answered a few rumours about a potential Saudi Pro League move for him as well, with a picture of him in the midst of a pretty intense gym session by the looks of it. Everybody very impressed, sort of showing off just how in shape he is, getting ahead of the new pre-season. Obviously, he's still going to have a massive role to play for Liverpool, whether, some people on Twitter like it or not. Especially with James Milner having departed for Brighton, one of the senior leadership figures in the dressing room. How crucial of a role is Jordan Henderson going to play? Not just on the pitch, because we know he's going to get plenty of minutes, but in that dressing room, how key is it that Liverpool keep hold of him and his influence over the players?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you're looking at Jordan Henderson. I mean, he is the longest serving player now, I think, and he's still got. I mean, he might not play as much next season. I think it's pretty much nailed on that he won't play as much next season, with McAllister and Szoboszlai coming in, and with Trent kind of moving into his hybrid role. Whether that carries on, we don't know. But either way, I think Henderson, he's going to see his game time, dropping down quite a fair bit, but he's still got such a massive role, especially with two new signers coming in McAllister and Szoboszlai. Granted, they're very good players. They're still young, though. And, I mean, Szoboszlai is 22. I can't remember McAllister off the top of my head. But obviously, those two, they're still fairly early on in their careers. They're going to need that kind of guiding force with them through Henderson. And, if either of those players sort of drop off a bit in form, which they're likely to do at some stage. I mean, every player goes through it. You're going to need that backup to slot in straight away. And Henderson has, I mean, as you say, he cops for a bit of stick on Twitter, cops for a bit of stick everywhere from some sections of Liverpool fans. But at the end of the day, he has been Liverpool's longest serving servant, and there's no reason why Jurgen Klopp should get rid of him at this moment in time, because he still has such an important part to play.
Yeah, you can't be losing your vice captain and your captain in the same summer. I think some people pointed out that was sort of similar to what happened at Manchester United after Ferguson left. The likes of Ferdinand pretty much departing straight after Van Persie. Senior leadership figures in your dressing room. You need to keep some of them about, and Henderson's definitely still got a massive role to play in this Liverpool squad, as you said. But that is all we've got time for here on the Morning Bulletin this morning. So, James, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.